Hello everyone, my name is David Lopez. I'm going to be talking today about ScreenBeam Active Learning setup, and we're going to go through a quick demo of the Active Learning ScreenBeam setup that we have here today. This is a demo setup, so this is not necessarily what you would see exactly in a classroom, but there's representative screens and we'll walk through what that looks like. In Active Learning, we have a room scenario where the teacher has control of what gets shared to those screens and how those screens are then utilized in an instructional environment. So students have the ability to collaborate on their own screens, perhaps at a collaboration table. The teacher has the main screen in the room, but also has access to move content around between screens. What you're seeing behind me is a teacher main screen here in the back at the top, and that is where the teacher would walk in and connect to. Then you have screens on the sides, on both sides, the left and the right. And those, again, are representative of what would happen in that the students might be sitting at a collaboration table together. So you have a group of students on the left, a couple of group of students on the left, a couple of group of students on the right, and they'd be sitting in their respective spaces, and they'll be able to use those displays. And we're going to talk through first a teacher scenario, so what a teacher would see and how they would quickly control their content. And then we'll also talk about how a student might interact with the teacher in that environment. So first, I have the teacher device here. In this case, it's a teacher laptop, and it has just my regular content on here. And I want to walk over, just when I walk into my room, I want to be able to connect to the screen. Now, the teacher does not have any software needed on their device. They don't have to load any extra content. I'm just going to go in here and connect to the ScreenBeam like I normally would. In this case, on my Windows device, the tablet device, I'm going to hit Windows K, and just connect to the ScreenBeam right here in the front of the room. And you can see my screen is now sharing. And I have the ability to just display my content. So if I want to hit play my slideshow, you can see all that's working as I would expect it to. And so the teacher has, again, full control of just connecting to that room without any extra steps, just Windows K or AirPlay or Chromecast or whatever they might do in that space to that screen in the front of the room. No additional software needed. However, what you do have, if you look at the screen here, is you do have the ability to control that environment. Now, this screen represents a teacher control setup, and this could be on the teacher laptop if they wanted it to, or maybe we're exploring the idea of putting it on a separate tablet or a controller in the room that allows the teacher, once they're connected, to have some control separately on a separate device. And so this is just a larger version of that you might see in the classroom space. And so you can see I have, if we switch to just the full screen view, you can see I have the teacher device showing, the teacher is sharing their content, and just super easy, what we made it down here at the bottom of the screen, you can see that I can just hit Connect Main to All. So if I want, all of a sudden, my PowerPoint, I want everybody seeing that on their screens, all the teacher has to do is press one button. I'm going to select Connect Main to All, and you'll see on my, if we'll switch to the room/screen view, you'll see that now all the room screens are showing my content as well as the screen in the front of the room. And as a teacher, you'll notice I'll change my slides here, and you'll see the room slides change based on my teacher content that I've got. And all of those slide decks are changing simultaneously going along with the lesson. So that's the teacher controlling, again, that environment. And really just one button. All they had to press was Connect to All, and it automatically went to those displays. So they don't have to learn anything extra. But now, if I want to select Disconnect, I can disconnect from all those screens. Again, one simple button. And now the room is set up. Once I've finished my lesson that I'm teaching maybe in the front of the room, now I have or walking around the room, now I have the ability for my students to utilize those screens now, and they are sitting at their own collaboration tables and using those devices. So what does that look like? So switching to the student interaction, maybe this is a student device, and I'm sitting at my collaboration table working on something with my fellow students, and I want to connect to my screen at the table. I'm just going to do the same thing. Don't have any software available needed on the student device. They're just going to connect their phone or their laptop or their tablet or their iPad to that room screen that they're sitting at the collaboration table. table. And now as a student, I'm going to select that screen to my right here. I'm going to put in the PIN code and click on connect. And again, all I did was hit Windows K and connect, or if I'm using any other device, I could use the native connection for AirPlay or for Chromecast or whatever, and I'm connected to that screen. And so the teacher has the ability to show and share that content. But the nice thing is the teacher can walk around the room with their tablet device. You can see I'm still connected as the teacher to the front of the room. But I can be walking around with the controller or with my own device. And if I see something, I say, okay, I would like that student screen to be shared to the rest of the class. Or let's just say I want them to work with the table next to them and I want them to have some interaction with them. And I'm just going to click and drag that down to the screen next to them. And you'll notice on my preview screen here, I can see a live preview of what's happening on those screens. So you can see the content on the bottom pink screen changed. And just to show you that there is some things going on that screen, you can see as I maximize that screen, you see the same thumbnail change that takes place there. And so I can click and drag those to other places. You'll also notice that there is a green outline around that screen indicating that it came from the green team there that was sharing their device. And if I want to, I can click and drag that across to the blue screen, and it will move over there to that team. And you'll notice on all the ones that it's being shared to, I have an X on there. And that X would close that connection or disconnect that connection, and that student's that classroom screen would be disconnected and open for them to use. Or if I click and drag, I also have a trash can down here at the bottom that I can dump that into. And now you'll notice that it disconnected me from the pink team, but my other two stayed connected. Finally, I'll show you there is a hamburger menu on each screen once they're connected. And on that hamburger menu, I can just select connect to all screens in one click. And in one click, that goes not only to, as the teacher is doing this, keep in mind, not only goes to two screens, it goes to the main display as well. And so the teacher has the ability to say, hey, I would like this to be shared with the whole class. And in one click, or actually two, I click on the hamburger menu, I select connect to all, and all the screens now are sharing what's on that student screen. So the teacher has a really nice way to control that, and they can see live previews of what's going on the student devices before they share. And so all that setup is really super easy. And once I'm done, I can select that same one and click disconnect to all or from all. And you'll notice on the background behind me, you'll see all the screens change, and they all go right back to the ready to connect mode. And they're set up for either the next class or continuing with the lesson as the teacher needs to. So that is a quick run through of what happens in both a teacher environment and when the students come in and connect and they have their screens. But keep in mind, this control is only for the teacher. The teacher decides who shares, when they share, and where they share in the classroom. So that's a powerful tool for the teacher to be able to utilize this setup. To notate what is in the room, I have got an individual screen beam behind each screen you show here. But the key thing is there is no additional hardware needed. Everything is running on the screen beam itself, and there is one screen beam which actually is acting as the server for this. And so it kind of does the main control once that is set up. And this particular computer, again, could be the teacher device running connected to the main display, or it could be a separate tablet device or controller, if you will, for the room with the full video routing setup shown here. You'll also notice that if I scroll down here and we take a look, there's also a configuration screen available for the room. So this room setup that you saw on the previous screen is not static. If you have more than this number of screens listed here, we can show that. But you can also see if you have the screens configured in a different format in the room, you can change that format depending on how your room is set up. And you have access to that controller. And this would be done by the IT admin or whoever is setting up the room. Once they fix that layout and they get it to how they want it to, they can click save. And then when the teacher logs in the next time, and let's see, let's go refresh this screen. You should see it now. It's changed to that new configuration that I set up. And again, that is all done by the IT side. The teacher wouldn't necessarily have that control, but once that room is configured, unless there's more screens added, you shouldn't have to go back in there. So that is a quick rundown of the active learning scenario set up with the screen beams. We have a lot more to go, but this is a great way to take a look at it and see what is available right now for beta testing or for testing out this in your environment. If you have questions, please let us know, and hopefully we'll get a chance to talk to you soon. Thank you.